I'd like to circle back to QVault. So one of your newer platforms, you mentioned it earlier, and actually just dovetailing on something that you just flagged around what problem a client is solving. So how is QVault different from your normal digital badging platform, and what problem were you trying to solve? Yeah, here in Australia, and then is it the same problem in the UK or different problems and challenges that you see that delivering on?
No, for sure. So QVault is our verifiable credential product for accredited programs. So the catalyst for that was twofold. The first one was we started talking to a lot of our clients within the vocational space and a lot of our friends within the vocational space around digital badges, digital credentials, verifiable credentials, all the same word. And they were sort of saying, look, they're great. We just don't understand how to use them. So if we issue a digital badge, technically is ASQA going to be on us for being non-compliant? Do we issue it for a unit of competency? If we issue it for a unit of competency, where do we put the statement of attainment? Or how can we actually legally do this? So there was this big barrier for entry for those groups. And as I said, there were some providers that were all like, let's just use it for our non-accredited training and let's use it for our work experience components and all the rest of it. We then ran quite an extensive workshop with a few RTOs around if the future is all around verifiable credentials and agency being with the individual recipient, so the earner, the student, how portable is all of this? And one of the people brought up, well, seems pretty stupid if they're getting all of these credentials their whole life, but we can't actually give them one. And there are a few butchered ways that you could look at doing this. I mean, some of the incumbents, for instance, are sort of like you can just put a PDF within the actual badge and it will work. So what we actually decided to do was completely tear apart the standards for interoperability so that we could make sure that interoperability was never compromised. And then how can we extend the standard as much as we can without breaking it to be able to include all of these additional components that would make it relevant under the Australian qualifications framework. So we played around with that for a while. We had a lot of assistance with our good friends at ReadyTech to allow us to integrate with their student management system, being JobReady and VetTrack. And we really started to tease around this idea of, how can we look at creating a certificate as a verifiable credential? We again went back to some of our RTOs that were part of the pilot group, and one RTO was very vocal, and she said to me, Nicholas, we spent 3 months at a management level getting sign off for the look and feel of our certificate. There's no way we're changing it. And so we just sort of thought, look, that's fair enough. There are other incumbents that have certificate functionality, but it's all template driven. So how can we make something that's truly dynamic? So it doesn't really matter what units of competency a student does, and it's literally the same as the certificate that's produced. So ultimately, that's exactly what we built. So we built what's called, you'll understand this more than most, Dan, a credential assertion. So pretty much it's a verifiable credential framework that allows all of these extra pieces of information to be put in, and then we bake that as a verifiable credential. So what that means is in your student management system, however your certificate looks, whatever your statement of whatever your record of results looks like, whatever those records are, is actually dynamically brought in and baked as a compliant credential. And it's the same with the statement of attainment. So we've literally launched that not too long ago, and it's been able to make verifiable credentials meaningful for registered training organisations in Australia. And it's actually been able to do the same in the United Kingdom. So in the UK, awarding authorities are quite similar in terms of, there are certain attributes that need to be part of a qualification over there or a statement. So we've done all of that. Interestingly, the AQF has one of the most robust certification structures in the world, which is good. But more importantly, what it enables a person to do in that same repository is they can have their full AQF certificate from an RTO. They might have their St. John's Ambulance first aid.
Okay.
They might have a refresher for CPR. They might have, employee of the month from an aged care provider. They might have leadership under pressure. All of these things that they can then curate and send as part of a digital resume or put in a machine readable repository that can actually see exactly where they are and what they've done.